Well, it's a beautiful day here in Israel. This is wintertime, but you'd hardly know it. The grass is coming up and the flowers are starting to blossom and trees are starting to come out. And we're on our way down to Sderot to do some reporting there from the Gaza border. And the Sderot is the city where there's been a lot of rockets falling, 6,500 since the withdrawal just 2.5 years ago, and over 9,500 in the last 8 years. And so we're going down to bring a report to you, our Israel Vision audience, from that area. Okay, we're just coming into the town of Sderot now, and
about 4 kilometers away. Pummels of smoke coming out of Gaza. It's kind of scary.
Shalom, this is Jay and David Rawlings, and we're reporting to you for Israel Vision today from near the Gaza border. We're overlooking actually the area where people live in Gaza. Sadly, it's been become a heap of ruin. Because Israel wouldn't do this unless there was rockets being shot into Israel on a regular basis, so they wouldn't go in.
No, that's absolutely right. I mean, the Israelis have no need or want to go in there. I mean, we left unilaterally. We didn't ask anybody to leave, and maybe that's the problem. Maybe we should have asked them to leave. I mean, you know, maybe they're angry we left. I don't know. Anyways, I've heard that from some people, and that's just an argument that I can't even understand.
But David, in the last 8 years, now you were in there about 18 years ago, but in the last 8 years, there's been 9,000 rockets launched into Israel, into the southern part of Israel that you can see behind us, by Hamas militants in there. Now, David, what I want you to explain to us, you've been in there, how do they smuggle arms into this area? Because if the Hamas didn't have missiles and rockets being smuggled in, there would be no problem. How do they get them in?
Well, first of all, there's a very cold peace with Egypt. And they just simply burrow tunnels underneath the border and smuggle it in that way. They smuggle everything in, including food. So, you know, it's a very harsh situation for the Palestinian people.
So,
and the people who are in control, the Hamasniks, couldn't care too much for their people, obviously. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. I mean, they should, instead of provoking Israel, they should be, you know, educating hospitals, schools. I mean, you know, if there was no provocation, Israel would not be in there today.
Exactly. And I think it's important for our viewing audience to know that there is a larger picture here. There is another player, a silent player, but a very deadly player, and that's Iran. They are the ones that are pushing the arms into Gaza secretly. And if somehow the international community could block the entrance of smuggled arms, then there wouldn't really be a necessity for this nonsense. Is that possible?
I don't know if it's possible, because where there's a will, there's a way. Mm-hmm. And the will is to destroy this nation. And the Hamas charter and their teachers, their imams, are saying, and in fact I saw on the web just a couple of days ago, posted by the Palestinian Media Watch, which is something that everybody should be part of. You know, they say that the only time blessing will come to Palestine is when all the Jews are eradicated. The only time peace will come to this region is when all Jews are kicked out. And so there's really nobody to talk to.
They have the three no's that started in Khartoum back after the '67 war. No recognition of Israel,
right.
No negotiations with Israel, and no peace with Israel.
That's right.
And the Hamas are still doing that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to pray for God to intervene to bring peace to this place. It's a sad situation. No one is happy about all the people that have been killed in Gaza. It's a tragedy, a human tragedy.
4 years later, 8,000 rockets later. Oh, there was just a boom. Hope you all heard that. As I was saying, 4 years later, 8,001 rockets later, schools are no longer schools, but bomb shelters. And right over here behind me, you can see a funny building that used to be a normal school, only the Israelis have covered it with steel reinforced concrete, very thick, so that if anything happens, the kids have a place to be. I think this whole situation is extremely sad, and it just shows that we are repeating history. We are repeating history. The more that the enemies of Israel refuse to recognize her and incite their people to hate her, the more Israel will just stand. And there has to be some place, some sort of recognition of Israel and her right to exist for this to stop.
Esther, how can you live in Sderot and continue to see what's happening? Why don't you move?
Because we love Sderot, and it's not the, how do you say, pitaron. It's not the solution.
If you had a message that you would like to give the people of America about what's happening here and how they can help, what would that message be?
I hope they will support us and let our Tzahal do what they have to do. We want a peace life like everyone. That's all.
One of them saved me when I was 14. He saved me from a viper bite. He saved me. He just cut the viper head. They don't hate us, but there is some people over there that they are the real problem. They are fundamentalists. They want only power. They don't care to use their people as human shield. They don't care if their kids gonna die. They don't care to see blood anywhere. They just power greed.
Today we're in Sderot, the city in southern Israel that's taken the brunt of the recent barrage of rocket attacks. And actually in the last 2.5 years, over 6,500 rockets have come in here and 9,500 have been shot into southern Israel during the last 8 years. And we have noticed since we've been driving around, the life goes on. It's an amazing thing, but people carry on their lives in spite of the fact that there could be a rocket attack at any moment. So we're delighted to have with us today Earl Cox of the United States, and you're a friend that we've known for many years, and also you've been a guest on our show up in Jerusalem. But it's so good to be with you right on the front lines almost.
Yes.
Here in Gaza, near Gaza in Sderot.
Nice.
Tell us what happened last week.
Oh gosh, Jay, for 10 years I've been writing and talking about how you can support Israel, and I always thought I knew how these people felt. I thought I was a fairly decent writer until I was here visiting and handing out some needed items to the people around here that were in desperate need of certain things, and I just happened to be standing waiting for somebody, and all of a sudden that dreaded sound, rocket coming in. Well,
Code red.
Oh, I'm telling you, I ran with every bit of my strength to get into a shelter. The number of people traveling with me, they got in before I did, but we packed into that shelter. And always there's a first blast. You don't come out after that first blast into that second blast. Well, I came out after the first blast along with a person who works along with me, and when we just exited the bomb shelter, the blast went off, and the sound was deafening. We could even feel the heat, but the percussion from it literally picked us off our feet, as you've seen in a film, threw me back into the wall and knocked off all my air out of my body. They thought I'd been hit and, destroyed right there on the spot, but it really put me down, and I got up, and after I'd gotten my breath, we sat there and we just had to say a prayer to God to save our life in that shelter right there. If I'd gone a little farther out, it could have possibly taken me out. But it was not really until after that incident happened, Jay, that we were walking to the second bomb that was coming in, and when we heard it, we were with Magen David Adom. And I knew I had 25 seconds, and those people with me knew the same thing, and there was absolutely no shelter around. That's when I believe it really dawned on me what these people in Sderot and southern Israel are going through every day of their life, while these Qassam rockets are coming in from Hamas, from Gaza. I will never be able to put in words what it's like to get that feeling counting down. You know you've got 25, possibly seconds, a minimum of 15 seconds in order to get someplace where you can get some type of protection. I couldn't find any.
No.
I went into the first building I could find, went into a fetal position, and it was indescribable. I'll never be able to explain any of that outside the fact that I have a closer relationship now with these people of Israel and understanding what they really go through and what they've been going through, not only here in the last 3 or 4 years, but for almost all of their existence.
Well, I want to thank you on behalf, I'm an Israeli, I want to thank you on behalf of Israel of what you have done for this country, and also for the fire that's in your bones. We saw you on television the other night on a very famous interview show, and how you encouraged and strengthened Israel as a nation on that show. Thank you so much for doing that.
It's always my pleasure to speak up for my Lord, Jay, and he gave me a good opportunity to get the word across the world of how much need there is for not sympathy, but for support for the people of Israel.
Yes. And you have been doing it practically. Tell us how many bomb shelters, bus bomb shelters, has God used you to instigate to get them here?
Well, I can't take credit for myself, because it's the Lord who brought those shelters here, and in the hearts of the people who support Israel. We raised over $1 million, and we brought 50 shelters here in Sderot. And that's what's so good. I can look around and see shelters everywhere at these bus stops, and 50 shelters, and now we want to raise money to take get a 50 maybe up around Metula, Kiryat Shimona into the north, hoping nothing will happen up there, but just in case it does, we will have some place where these Israeli friends of ours can run into a shelter.
Yes, amen and amen.
Tzipi is going to show us where a Grad missile fell, and this is, look, you can see all of the stuff that they're pulling out of the house, the roof, all the rest of it. Look, this is a slightly populated area, I would say. Wow, look at this. Look. This is a new wall. This whole wall was gone. Landed right here. This is where it landed, in there. This is all shrapnel. In a house. So can you imagine you guys minding your own business in say Detroit, and Canadians just simply feel like throwing rockets in your general direction? How long would you be patient?
You know, this woman was laying in bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, or between 7 and 8 in the morning. She was an old lady laying in bed, and this thing hit in her house. And if she had been 5 meters the other way, she'd have been dead.
That's right.
Thank God she was in another bedroom, but otherwise she would have been murdered, killed.
That was another miracle.
It also cracked all my house. You can check it out. I just missed the missile because 1 minute later, he just tore up from the impact all my window, and it fell down on the pillow where I used to sleep, right in the same location where my head was. I just missed it in 1 minute, and it cracked all the walls inside. This window just went out from the impact. Over here, everything, all the ceramic went out from the impact, and I just missed it in 1 minute. You know, you can take it up if you want to go up. And all the window, I put it on the glue because this door actually got tore up from the impact of the outside of the explosion, and you can see all the cracks on the ceiling. Everything just went out. So I feel insecure. It can fly anytime. You know, they can do whatever they want to, those fundamentalists. And they don't care about citizens. They don't have value of life. This is what's annoying me. They're using their people as human shields, and they don't care to damage our civilians' life. They don't care to take any life. You know, they're doing everything for the cause. This is a dirty war. I believe in God, and I believe that God don't say kill for the cause. You have to protect yourself.
Amen.
We're never gonna attack them, even if they're gonna stay there for ages. We're not gonna attack them. We have no will in their ground or their land.
But people in the world think that Israel's out for blood. They don't understand what it's like to live here for years on end.
I know they get brainwashed by a lot of people from the media that they are very extreme. Malcolm X said it. Education is the real freedom, and he was a Muslim leader. I think so. Even that he was American, African American, doesn't matter. He was a Muslim, okay? And he said that education is power. So why don't they use it? Those people, the fundamentalists, they keep them ignorant on a purpose that they're gonna stay down and they can use them and abuse them.
Yeah.
And we're not allowed in that.
We're with the combat engineers here. Yeah.
So here we are right in front of huge bulldozers. Tanks, cranes, Jeeps, Hummers.
Finger right now. All the girls at home. You should love. Thank you for coming here and give us all the good things that you give.
Thank you very much.
I just arrived to America to say thank you to many people, many organizations, members of Congress, senators that are really a lot of time help and support Israel, bring with them solidarity, them support to Sderot as a city and for Israel at all.
You don't know how much your support, your solidarity gives us a power and make us strong to stay there and to be strong.
Mr. Mayor, I've had the privilege to be in your great country probably about 4 years ago. You know, we've always been very sympathetic with the ploy you find yourselves having to deal with each day. And recognize that God's on your side, and good will prevail.
There is a difference from the mentality, the Western mentality, and the Islamic fundamental culture. The best difference that we can find that when we think about the mother, the feelings, the mother feelings, we know that every mother wishes that her child will be healthy, will grow normally, will be successful in his life, will educate, will achieve a lot of nice things for him. This is the best wish that every mother wishes to her son. The Islamic fundamental mother wish for her son to die as a shaheed in the jihad. This is something that we cannot understand. How can mother wish her child to die? This is the difference. You cannot negotiate with society that think usually that the dead is holy. We think that the life is holy. They think that the dead is holy, and this is the best and the mostly different that cannot give you a chance to deal with those people.
Hello, everybody. This is one of my colleagues. I asked him to come. Congressman Mike Pence. I'm a Democrat. He's a Republican, but there's no better friend of Israel. The whole entire Congress than this man.
We're grateful for your courage and the courage of all the people of your community. You're willing to stand and stay and endure what you've endured. And it inspires us, it encourages us, and so it's an honor to meet you, and I'm very grateful that I have had the opportunity to come out and shake your hand.
Yesterday in the Senate and in the Congress House, I feel this duty, and it was pleasure for me to go office after office, senator after senator, congressman after congressman, the Israeli lobby, the people that support and have a solidarity with the Israel state. It's really a pleasure for us that we have friends such like this in Washington. It's good for us that we have friends like this, and it's really make us more strong to understand that we have best friends here in Washington and other places in the world. And it's our duty to tell them every day thank you, about them standing, about the choice, how they choose to help us, to be with us, and to give us the feeling that we are not alone.
No, מתחמם.
All the time they said, you are in Sderot, you are the real heroes. I don't feel like a hero. I feel that I am in my country. I keep the border for my country. If someone thinks to leave Sderot, tomorrow he will think to leave Ashkelon, and after tomorrow he think maybe to leave Ashdod. We have not this priority, we have not this pleasure to choose where to be. We have to be there because this is our country, and we have to stay there. We have not another country. And those people stand behind us and give us the feeling that we are not alone, and support us, and found 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with Israel, in their mind, in their behavior, and in them work every day. This is something that let us understand and let us feel that it's they are the real heroes. They are the real heroes, and we appreciate them standing behind us.
It must be torture for a parent to know that their child can't be over, 15 seconds away from a shelter, and that's just simply no way to live. You know, when you go there, I think the president President Obama, he was a candidate for president. It really makes the issue real to you, and I can't help but believe that if there was an American community on the border of Mexico or Canada that was living like this, that the American government would and people would say enough. As long as people want to launch rockets instead of negotiating, we'll be where we're at today.
We arrive here only to say one more thank you about everything that you've done for Sderot and for Israel.
In many ways, as goes Sderot, so goes anybody that believes in freedom and representative government.